What's up, people? Game 1 here of this Losers Bracket Round 4 match between You Love to Party and The Law, as they are both getting knocked down here and potentially face elimination if they are unable to convert these into a win. Law getting knocked down by Denial in the round of 8, and YLTP in the round of 16. Team Excellent took them out. They had a bye in the first round of Losers Bracket, so that's why we did not see them there in those matches. But here, they do not have a bye. They must face the Law, certainly a slightly better known team, but YLTP, seen more and more of them, and they're pretty solid themselves. Of course, finishing, I believe, 6th overall in HoN Tour points, and doing fairly well in the playoffs as well. Wait, what am I even talking about? No, excuse me, that's the exact opposite of what happened. They were knocked out 0-2-0-2 by the number 3 and number 4 seeds in their initial group stages. So, not doing well in the playoffs, doing horribly in the playoffs. That is not at all what you would have expected from that group, that the number 1 team get knocked out in straight series. It's not like they were using ringers either. They had their full complement of players. Just did not play very well, so regardless, that's in the future. They don't know about that yet here, so hopefully they won't have been traumatized by it because they don't know what happened. Makes sense to me. I should probably be a psychiatrist. Anyway, Ophelia, Warbeast, Kraken, and Scout getting banned out here. Ophelia and Kraken taken out by the Legion side, Warbeast and Scout from Hellborn, so Soundlake's over there clearly interested in removing some of the better suicide options, while now he just wants to get rid of that Ophelia. He evidently does not want to first pick it, and therefore not going to run it and allow the other team to run it, although YLTP doesn't run that many junglers themselves. They do prefer the dual support strat. Kraken, of course, just a strong hero being taken out here, versatile as well, so removes an option, really a perpetual option for both sides, as he can be running any one of those lanes, and he almost always fits well within a team, doing pretty well in team fights, doesn't do that much pushing, but a solid ganker as well, and generally decent damage. So all those bans, of course, making plenty of sense within this game. Picks so far here for the Legion side are Pesty and Bubbles, so two strong gankers there, no doubt. Obviously, Pesty with a little more carry potential, a little less team fight, as we compare him to Bubbles' Kelp Field, and he's a little more single target, especially with those bugs and the Gore only being able to hit one person. But of course, the Impel Stun will usually hit multiple targets with that Portal Key because it's fairly easy to line up onto a couple, and usually strong Pesty players find the ability to do that. Obviously, Brodix 5 level here is usually the mid player and may very well find himself on that Pestilence, and he is one of the better mid players in the game, so I have plenty of faith in him on that pick. Looking for his third selection over here on Legion's side, so we'll see what they go with. With the Suicides banned out, I suspect Bubbles will be in that Suicide role just because it's easier. I really, really hope they don't short lane him because they... God, teams keep doing that, it never works, and it's like, when will they learn? Regardless, Parasite over here, so they're going to go the jungle route, not having access to Ophelia, deciding to take Parasite over Tempest. Not really something I agree with fully, but I can see where they're thinking is Tempest not really providing too much damage, and while Bubbles and Pesty do some of that, Tempest doesn't really scale all that well. Parasite doesn't scale that well either, but at least there'll be some more burst over here. There'll be some more damage, and Parasite provides a bit of lockdown, especially using a decent enough creep. So I don't hate that pick. I think I'd slightly prefer Tempest just because I like him a little bit more. He combos well with Bubbles, and he's able to push a little bit. Parasite has a decent, or not even a decent, he has some push. Like, he's not really a great pusher, but gives some of that ability, especially if he is inside a creep, or inside a Hell Cannon, or a Ballista for that matter. Hellborn picking up Engineered Torture so far, so let's see if they're actually going to run that Torture in the support role. It'd be a little weird to pick up both your supports this early. Obviously very strong supports, we see them all the time, but it's not like those are the only options. So curious if they choose to select supports so early on, especially because for the most part, supports don't really win you the game. They're helpful in, I mean, like, what lane you put them in can matter a whole lot, and which supports you pick can definitely matter a whole lot in terms of how they fit with your team, but usually you want to pick a support around the heroes you're able to get that will get the farm, just because those are typically the heroes that, you know, are going to have the most impact in the game. And so you want supports that complement those heroes instead of the other way around. I can't really ever argue with an Engineer pick as a support because he is that powerful. Torture, I think I have a little more ability and room to say, maybe not the best, just because he's second picked, and I don't think it's really a second pick worthy hero. He's nice, he's versatile. He's a hero that you're like, well, Okay, this doesn't give up too much, so that's good as an earlier selection because it doesn't tell you what they're doing. But it sort of does, just because almost nobody ever runs Torture in the carry role anymore, so if they do, it'll be a surprise no matter what. And anyway, Rally is their last selection meanwhile, so plenty of damage there. Now 3 stuns, of course, so plenty of stun ability coming out from Hellborn, and that's always nice to see. Some pretty solid team fight as well, with most of the Torture stuff being AoE, Seismic Slam from Rally being able to hit multiple targets, and of course Energy Field from Engineer. So we'll see what they choose to go for from here. They're probably missing a short laner unless they decide to make that Torture a short laner. I hope they don't. And they're very possibly missing a Suicide. They could go with an aggressive tri-laner actually, and I wouldn't really mind that. The Compel stun in on top of the Keg and the Torture chain reactions has quite a lot of potential for kills. So I think that's certainly an option here that YLTP is going to consider. Dual lane's also very possible, either NG or Torture with Rally in mid. You could put Rally Suicide, but I'm not a huge fan of that. I think I'd prefer to see something else Suicide, not Hag, just because... sorry, Majestics man, but I've seen you play that Hag a few times and it has not worked well. So perhaps they'll go for something else. Keeper is still available. I think Keeper in this lineup would actually work pretty well. They would give them some pretty strong push with Keeper Torture, and the team fight on Hellborn would be amazing. Lock him down with the Keeper, throw an Energy Field, put a Seismic Slam, let Torture do a bunch of damage, and that could have a pretty strong potential to wipe in a 5-man engagement. Of course, Legion not really looking for 5-man engagements as they have mostly, pick-off gank single-target heroes. But bans are done here, so they're Corrupted Disciple and Sandwraith getting taken out by Zanawi, so lots of short laners banned. They are assuming that Torture will be a support, and otherwise that wouldn't make too much sense, especially because presumably Legion's still looking for their own short laner. Regardless, Hellborn banned out Master of Arms, Pyromancer, and Moon Queen, so a couple of supports, knowing that they're compatriots over there. Or opponents, I guess is a better word, because compatriots sounds too cooperative. They will be looking for a short laner themselves, once again, unless Pesty is the short laner, which I don't really like, but is possible. And they definitely need a support, so taking out Master Pyro on top of the NG Torture, already removed from the pool, leaves them with a substantially fewer options to pick from. I think Witch Slayer still makes a lot of sense here, adds to their gank potential, adds to their lockdown potential. That's a very powerful support at this point. There's going to be Grenix before that happens, so once again, this is a heavy gank team over here in the Law, and it's a heavy early to mid-game team, so this is going to have to be a relatively early win for them if it's going to be a win, I think. Almost no matter what else YLTP picks up at this point. Just because Pesty will semi-carry, but Parasite and Grenix and Bubbles are going to continue to be annoying, but they'll never put out the amount of damage that you'd expect from a carry or want from a carry in the late game, unless they just get massive farm. That's always the caveat, because I say that sometimes, like, oh, this hero just doesn't do that damage in the late game, and then in the late game they're just one-shotting all the heroes because they have 500 gold per minute, so I'm like, well, yeah, so it's going to be the Keeper, so yay for me, I called it. And I really like that combination on top of the heroes that the Hellborn already have. Gives them some more push, gives them a strong team fight. They're lacking some gank. Rally has a little bit of that, especially once he picks up his portal key, so we'll see if they can grab a short laner that has some gank potential. I wouldn't hate that. Dr. Repulsor sticks out, so does Wretched Hag. And I think both of those make a ton of sense in this lineup. Of course, Doctor being able to be highly mobile will be able to gank with this team, and also do a fair bit of damage when they do team fight. Hag benefiting a little bit more from the team fight, as that Bat Blast is easier to line up if they can do that. Glacius will be the final pick here from Legion. I don't like Glacius. I don't like the fact that his Immobilize is an Immobilize, not a stun. It's very ripe for preventing heroes, or allowing heroes to get out of it. Rally in particular, if you immobilize Rally, he's just like, compel. Bye. Did they change that so you can't compel? I think they changed something about his compel. I'm not sure if it's that. Dampier is the last pick, so yes, heavy gank hero in the short lane with some carry potential. So I like that a lot. And Zudonix is going to be on the Keeper, so this is definitely... This is going to be a man-up tri-lane with Rally. Okay, because Majestics is usually their Suicide player, and that looks like he's going to be a Suicide Rally, which makes no sense to me.
Let's get it on.
So I hope that's just a role switch, because maybe Zudonix is a better Keeper player, but I would really, really hate to see a Suicide Rally in this situation. They could run aggressive dual lanes, perhaps a 2-1-2 strat, put Keeper in the middle or even Dampier in the middle and the short lane Keeper. Nighty on that Dampier is their typical carry player, so I suspect Damp will be mid. But I strongly hope this Keeper's going to go Suicide. We're going to see dual lanes coming out here, because if they don't do that, I'm going to have a lot of questions for their laning phase. Anyway, on this Legion side, Grinnick's obviously going to be in the Suicide. Bubbles should be middle with Pestilence in the bot. And we might not see that, but I really hope we do, because I hate Bubbles in the short lane. And Glacius will be babysitting that bubble at Pesty bot, I hope. Bubbles is heading bot. Oh god, please, no. So we'll see what the law is able to do here, but so far I don't like their decisions. They have a lot of early to mid game presence, so if they could win this game relatively quickly, and it certainly is possible, then they'll do a lot. The issue is that Hellborn have stuck over here. Grace is just like, hello. Puts the ward down, eats a bunch of stuns. Compel actually does not hit him, and so he'll be able to rift stock on out of there. Nope, chain reaction is not available. On cooldown. The auto attack might the auto attacks are costing him because he's stopping, not able to put the chain reactions on. I'm not sure they get the kill anyway, but the compel missing here is actually pretty big. So Keeper gonna pull the wave here with the dog. So it is a Suicide Keeper, and middle it's gonna be Rally and Engineer, and up top Damp and Torture. So I like Hellborn's team. I like Hellborn's lanes. They have late game here. They've also got some mid game. You know, Damp here with some farm in the early has so much potential to take over a game. Rally is a similar hero. Keeper, he likes his portal key. He likes his refresher orb. He's still very valuable in the mid and early game, especially when it comes to taking towers. So we'll see how he does. I don't. There's very little about this Hellborn team that I don't like. They've constructed extremely well. I think perhaps the only thing to dislike is the fact that all three of their farmers are melee. I don't usually like that, just because it does occasionally create some positioning issues. Compel should mitigate that a little bit. Of course, Dampier's Flight also does that. And once Keeper picks up his portal key, he will be able to do some stuff. Now, Lulpix here on this Bubbles is taking all of the damage from that creep wave. He has 8 tangos, so only 8 tangos, excuse me. Middle, Pesty and Glacius going up against dual lane as well. And this is the kind of lane that Bubbles just wouldn't die to. There's enough damage. Right? He can shell surf away, so highly defensive mid hero, of course. And he wouldn't do that well in terms of CS, certainly not as well as Pesty will do, but on the other hand, with the lane control that Keeper now has, Bubbles isn't going to be able to kill Keeper. Like, he just can't do it. Keeper's too tanky. So, Keeper should know that and think, oh, I have not brought enough regen. I've only bought the Pro 3 tangos. So, with the 9 tangos here from Bubbles, Keeper might actually be in a little bit of trouble just because he doesn't have the regen. I'm going to throw out some punches, but Bubbles, whatever. I have trees. So we'll see how this does, but so far I really do like Hellborn's lineup and their lanes. Legion, not so much. I mean, if they can get a really strong... I think a lot of this game is going to be decided by the laning phase, actually. If Legion can win this laning phase, they can transition that into a strong mid-game and possibly a win. The only concern I have about teams like this is they try to win the mid-game, but they don't have the push to do it. So none of these Legion heroes are really that strong at pushing, and when that happens, they win the laning phase, they win the mid-game, and they try to end, but they can't because they don't have the ability to break base. And Hellborn have some pretty decent anti-push Keeper minions, of course. Dampier being able to clean up creeps, Rally's compelling demoralizing war. There's some anti-push there. Turret from Engineer. On the other hand, they are running the jungle strat versus the dual support, so that does give them a bit of an advantage on Legion. I don't know, I'm trying to find things I like about this Legion lineup and their lanes. I'm not finding too many. I like the choice of this Glacier support. I don't know why you'd pick that over, say, Witch Slayer. Impel there onto Rally. I mean, really, I don't know why you'd pick it over Witch Slayer, because one of the things about Dampier is he's not that hefty, what he does, he gets all his mana back because of Vampiric Flight, or all his health back because of Vampiric Flight gives him health. So does his aura, and so does his consume. So if you hex him, you can actually kill him fairly quickly. A couple of stuns, and he dies relatively fast. He just doesn't get that beefy, like unless he gets like a Behemoth Heart or a bunch of charges on an Icon or something like that. Looking for a Compel will hit the Demoralizing Roar around it too. So heavy CC on Dampier is the bane of his existence. Obviously he will get shrunken at some point, but with the jump from Pesty on the portal key, shouldn't be that big a problem to lock him down. Impel Stun will just barely clip Pestilence there, but he will respond now with the Impale and the Tundra Blast. Peg doesn't hit anything. Ice Imprisonment on Rally now. He's in some trouble. Puts the Demoralizer Roar out. I think he's just a little too beefy to die here. Second Impel Stun actually comes out, and he's going to drop. Nope. Yes. Oh god. All the health pots being used. He is alive. I think they used 2 health pots there to keep him alive. That's a pretty big deal because he still has to go back to base now. And he's going to miss a lot of CS here. Bubbles Keeper on bot, no surprise. Keeper hasn't died, but neither has Bubbles just because Keeper doesn't have the damage to deal with all the trees that Bubbles is throwing out there. And he's only down to 4. Keeper has used all of his regen, sitting on a Trinket of Restoration as well. And he actually hits 6 before Bubbles does, but obviously no mana for the root. In terms of the CS, Lulpix at 26 and 6 compared to an 18-4 Keeper, so Keeper not really losing this lane very hard. 283 GPM on Bubbles, 220 on Keeper. Meanwhile, up top, Viper does fall on that Grinix, as he just gets caught out, and there's the dust, and there's the death. So Nighty actually picking up the kill, and that's a pretty big get for him, as he's now sitting on 396 gold per minute up here, 31 and 12 compared to Grinix at 16 and 2. So certainly things going well here in the laning phase for the Hellborn. Now Pestilence going to get caught out, Chain Reaction's there, and Brodex will fall as well. Pushes the gold in their favor. Kelfield here onto Keeper. Desperate Revelation as well, and that's going to be his death. So Parasite finally coming out for a gank, and we'll pick off Keeper. I will point out, it's kind of sad here that Hellborn did manage to lose 2 lanes. Pesty in middle is 28 and 4 compared to Rally 17 and 0. And obviously Bubbles won bot, so that's usually not what you see when you run a dual support against a jungle strat. Usually what happens is the dual support will win 2 lanes just because, you know, they should have heavier pressure on that. And while Grinix sort of got destroyed up top as he puts the Shadow Step on a Torture. Just not doing very well at 160 GPM. You know, he did get sort of wrecked up there. He's not that far behind Keeper now that Keeper's taken a death, even though he also took a death. Wildtime Parasite here looking for a pick, will not find one, instead just getting the hell out of there. And they're going to find Keeper up here, puts the Nature's Veil up, and he'll just walk on past. Looking instead perhaps for a jump onto Dampier or Torturer. Keeper now headed middle. And Invis Rally Compel actually misses. Kegstun hits. So a pretty big deal. Up there, actually, Smithix will fall on Torture as there goes the Parasite and the Grinix, and just death. Dampier perhaps looking for a return kill, not going to happen. So I don't understand why Torture got caught out there, because they saw, I mean, Keeper saw both Grinix and Parasite heading top. Compel there onto Pestilence, on top of the Keg Stun, but he takes the Ice Imprisonment, and he's not going to be able to follow anything up. Demoralizing Roar onto Glacius, but doesn't care too much. And Brodex will bottle up. Keeper once again seeing Parasite. And Bubbles is getting free farm here as Keeper's doing nothing. So Legion are creating and expanding a gold lead here because for some reason they're winning lanes that they shouldn't be winning. Or they're winning more lanes than they should be winning. And Jimmy jump here onto Rally, avoids the Keg Stun, looking for Impale, will get it despite the Compel. Chain Reactions don't actually hit a sequence there on that Parasite, so Legion's side doing real well all of a sudden. 371 GPM, 380 now on Dampier, so still the highest farm in the game, but 3 heroes over here on Legion above 300, nobody else on Hellborn above 200. And the tower kill is just going to increase. So like I said, with an early laning phase, a win here, the Legion can certainly snowball and turn this into an early victory. That's definitely what their team is built to do. It's not designed to take this game to the 45-minute-hour mark. And like I said, I still do have concerns about their ability to break base. Just because this is not a heavy push team. Impel's done there, and a double damage activated. Compel away. So despite the... let's see what happens. So he put the Ice Imprisonment, and he was able to compel away. He still has the Ice Imprisonment on him, but obviously the positioning tool is just as valuable. Kelp, or Bubbles, jump from Bubbles, and he's going to have just enough for that Kelp. He switches boots, and Goal's actually going to fall here. Logistics on that Rally also dies, but Rally in some trouble here Glacius in some trouble now. He's going to die. Ends up being a 2-for-1. Parasite coming in here perhaps. Chain Reaction misses onto Pesty. And Keg will hit Pestilence, or Parasite. Puts the Leech out, and that's going to end up being the end of the engagement. 2-for-1 there in favor of Hellborn as they pick off both Bubbles and Glacius. Taking the short laner for a Rally, actually, a pretty big deal. As Rally's is only at 200 gold per minute, and Bubbles is at 350. And Nighty up top, continuing to expand his farm, 386 gold per minute now. Needs to start getting some kills. That's sort of what he does. Going, of course, for the straight Grimoire route, as he's got 2 parts of that light brand, just needs the recipe, and we'll have it shortly. So this is going to be pretty fast Grimoire for him, I think, probably in the order of 15 or 16 minutes. Gregson jump in with the Shadow Step, but of course Damp doesn't care too much. Actually, Bubbles coming in from the side, no Kelp field available, and Damp will just walk out. 3 heroes up here for the Hellborn side. Nature's Veil going off onto Damp here, so perhaps he's going to look for an initiation onto Grinix. Definitely, of course, Keeper Ward's still available. And this is going to be dead Grinix there. Tames out with the Terrorize on top of the root, and just too much. Dust Pop not even necessary. So, easy kill there onto Grinix. As Zudonix on Keeper of the Forest picks it up, it's going to be turned into a top push. As Hellborn do need to start doing this. They have some push potential, so they need to start going, okay, we're going to kill some towers. Damp here, of course, very good at cleaning up creep waves, and with the minions from Keeper and the Torture and Impalement, lots of tower damage here. This is going to be an easy mid-tower kill. Legion pushing in mid with the illusions from Pestilence. So there goes top tower. Mid tower going to take a lot of damage, actually. Your ally takes the Kelp Ghost Stun with the Compel, and he'll die to an auto attack from sequence. Glyph coming out from middle lane, but this is still going to be a dead tower. Actually, it's an advantage here for the Legion side, as it did take them longer to kill that tower, but in terms of a positioning tool, the mid tower is much more important than the top tower is for Legion. Because obviously this opens up a lot of the jungle here. If you can't port to that mid tower anymore, then pushing the opponent's mid tower is a bit of an issue unless you bring all 5 heroes. And farming the Ancient's a little bit more difficult, especially with this tier 1 bot on gone, so you have to port to the secondary bot tower or the secondary mid tower. It takes you a little longer to walk over. You're not quite as able to cut people off coming into the river. You can pretty much only react defensively. You can't go offensively and say, look, okay, you're going to come out of the Ancients. I'm going to kill you as you come down here into the river. So 2 good tower kills here for Legion as they open up some map control, take a 2.5k gold lead and a 3k experience lead. Illusions die there from Pesty, and he's left all by himself. But he will continue to soldier on, because he is brave. So brave. It's like he has cancer. That's how brave he is. Bot ring regen will be bottled up by Bubbles. So it just made me think of something. Are there, like, just cancer kids who are, like, just, like, shitting their pants and we just never hear about them? Word of Sight gonna be, or Word of Rap gonna be dropped here, and Will Cap a ward here that was just placed from Hellborn, so well done. Obviously they saw that because now his Word of Sight spotted it. But it will be death. Keeper over here, Torture, I'm sorry, does not want to walk near that Word of Rev, as it will be able to spot him. Duh. I think that was a thing on House, wasn't it? And like they had some cancer kid come in, and she's sickened away or something like that, I think, and it's like everybody's talking about how brave she is, and House is just like, they can't all be brave, right? Like, some of them have to be terrible people, and they're just whining all the time. I wonder if that's the case. It probably is. Just some kids with cancer are awful, and you're just like, you walk away meeting and be like, I'm not that upset about this. I'm going to hell. I have no idea why I'm even thinking about this. Like, what the hell happened in my life? This happened. Portal key on bubbles. So that's going to be very helpful, the initiation. Parasite going to come here to jump Kelp, Keeper of the Forest. Engineer also going to follow as he takes the Kelp field, puts the energy field down and the keg, but not going to be nearly enough. Energy field is going to die as Bubbles just walks calmly through it. Over here, Rally looking for something but has a bugs on him, so they know he's coming. And Parasite will take over the Hell Cannon. Tries to get CS there, but fails. He's a failure. Sequence so bad. He's level 11. It's pretty impressive. Lulpix and Bubbles also level 11. And his Nighty has just really been static farming this lane, so during the drafting phase I'm like, yeah, Stampeder's a really good hero. He'll help them get, because they're sort of lacking that. He has not moved from this top lane. And it's partially because the Legion's burst damage is so substantial that it doesn't make a lot of sense, because if he TP's in, like, his entire team's already dead, so what the hell's the point of that? On the other hand, there's a Root and a Dust on top of Grenix, and he's going to die, so nice kill. And also on the other hand, he has 450 gold per minute as he's now finished the ultimate orb. And that's going to be a Grimoire relatively soon. Just about that 15-minute mark, like I said. Man, I'm good. I'm available, pro teams. I'm not tied to anybody. I could fail for you. And you'd be embarrassed to say, oh, that got somebody done. No, sorry, we cut you. We're going to go with somebody who's not bad. Regardless. Bubbles cleaning up some creeps here with his own illusions. He's like, oh, I saw Petzl's illusions. Those look nice. I got some of my own. Look how pretty they are. Trying to keep this camp, not going to stack it, Pez. Just trying to keep them out of it enough that it would stack, but it's not happening. Like I said, Pezzy picking up his own portal key, so the Legion initiation here going to be extremely powerful. Parasite has that codex. Let's see if he can continue to level it up. He's on level 1 right now, has 1,000 gold. So he could buy level 2 if he so chooses, or could go at his own portal key and just be like, look how many portal keys we've got, opposing team, CC now. To which they say, okay, you have too many portal keys, you win the game. Rally and get chased down by Wild Hunter Parasite here. Of course, Pestilence has that PK, so can jump. Nice face hog there, and that's going to be a death. Brodex stealing with the Impale Stun, as Sequence did almost all of the damage. So now Brodex is a bad person. Sequence is a failure, and Brodex is a bad person. Because Sequence did not get that CS down bot, which obviously means he's bad. And Brodex is kill stealing from his team. He's just like, okay, Parasite, you do all the damage, I'll just come in from the from the side, and that would be impressive, to hide some Wild Hunters in your butt. Yeah, there's another one over here. Bubbles isn't happy about it, because he can't do any magic damage to them, so he's like, he's bribing us too. Okay. Well, Sequence, if you're bribing us too, how come you missed that CS down here with that Hell Cannon, huh? He's gonna have another Wild Hunter here, and somebody's gonna be mad. Torture's over here, right on top of the Ward of Sight. And Parasite gonna go back to the jungle before the Invis expires. And probably gonna head over closer. Try to pick up this Tort, maybe. Or somebody else in mid, but the whole Hellborn team's gathered up here, and this is what they should be doing. Because Legions damage a single target and burst. They want to be able to pick people off, and they've been consistently able to do that because, for the most part, it has been. Okay, Pestilence going to jump here onto Rally, and there goes Parasite with everything, and he's just like, guess what, I find another Wild Hunter. Will run out of energy field. Keeper putting the Invis on himself, looking for something. Parasite will be found here, as on top. Damp here looking for the initiation. We'll get Ice Imprisonment and everything dropped on him. Nighty is going to fall so damn fast. Sequence dies in the background, as Keeper dropped his root, but now Torture's in some trouble, takes the Impale. Shadow Step onto Keeper. Keg will help Torture get out of there. 2 ports going off, and both of them are, oh god, Impale Stun stopping Engineer, so he's going to die. Puts the bugs on him. Meanwhile, Zudong's over here, dies to Lulpix with the Shell Surf. Ice Imprisonment onto Engie, and so now he picks up that kill, so well fought there for the Legion side, picking off, they got Sequence dead, but they killed 3, as Nighty for some reason felt like he could take on 3 of the opposing heroes by himself. That was not a correct assessment of their abilities right now, especially considering he took on, what, Bubbles, Glacius, and Grenix or something like that. Yeah, not a good idea there, buddy. So he has the Grimoire. which is going to be very good for his farming, but not so great for the fact that his damage output isn't the best right now. It's still pretty high because Grimoire does that, but it will continue to get better. I'm assuming we're going to see a Shrunken Head second item from him just because Bubbles, Parasite, even Glacius is a bit of an issue. And if he is locked down in these team fights, he's going to be screwed. Actually, I assume that Glacial ult is why they picked him. They want some team fight damage, but, like, I don't know, man. You can very rarely rely on that thing to do more than a couple seconds worth of damage, which can be fairly impressive, but it's like, I don't know. I always sort of consider Glacia's ultimate useless. It's not. It's overly simplistic, and I know that's just because I'm bad because I can't get a good one off, but because, like, I mean, there's some Glacia's ultimates that are amazing, but it's the same thing as, like, there's some Tempest ultimates that are amazing. With Glacia's ultimate, you just become a target, and since you're a squishy damn support and you never have a Shrunken Head, you can just die in half a second. It's like Rhapsody ultimate. The difference, of course, being that Rhapsody ultimate saves your own team, so it's a little more valuable because, you know, you'd rather have, for the most part, your team is better coordinated to set up for a Rhapsody ultimate than the opposing team is set up to take damage from Glacia's ultimate, because they're not going to walk into your Glacius and stand next to your Glacius while he ultimates. Now your team will stay next to the Rhapsody while he ultimates, so usually you're going to hit more people for a longer duration, you're a little better protected. With Dust going off on top of the root, and now Grenix is going to fall here, puts the Shadow Step off, but there's the Compel, Keg goes off, and then the turret actually will finish him off, so Semilix's picking up that kill. Meanwhile, on bot, initiation of Nighty, and he dies. So easy kill. As the Parasite Pesty is just too strong. For Glacius over here, gonna see Keeper, but without a root, Keeper can't do anything. Eats the Thunder Blast. So, anyway, it just seems like Glacius ultimate's like, hey, kill me. Oh, you did? Oh. Well, it's a little disappointing. Bubbles over here looking to get initiated on, but has the Portal Key and Shell Surf and tight cover, so I don't think they're gonna kill him, especially because the creep wave is following Rally around, like, hey, buddy, you're my friend. Invis Keeper over here, gonna spot him out, but obviously still no root. Shell Surf and tight cover available, and he just leaves. Man, that creep wave likes Rally. They like that the neutral camp a little bit more, but he just ran all the way around the side and brought him up to the heavy camp. Top tower can be pressured a little bit, as 3 heroes from Legion's side are up here. Still has a fair amount of health, but we'll see what they can do about that. Again, not a heavy push team here on Legion. Sequence should go take that Hell Cannon over. And they have a ward here, didn't spot anybody. Torture and Entry are going to be in the back. Setting up for a tower defense. Now they're going to be seen by Bubbles, and that's going to be a problem. 2 Portal Keys over here, and Smithix just falls immediately. Shell Surf there. Kelpville will lock down Engineer before he can get the ultimate off. Keeper's looking for something. I don't think he hit the... No, he did get dusted. Just on the edge of that range, as Parasite did go for the Portal Key, so that's what I was saying. You know, either Parasite goes to the Portal Key to become the Portal Key brother, or he gets the Codex, and he went for the Portal Key route. Certainly enjoying that choice there, because he was able to jump Torture with Bubbles. DD Rune here on Rally, excuse me. And Legion going to push a secondary tower here is certainly a good idea. They need to be able to start taking these towers, as this lineup is extremely powerful at this point in the game. 11 or 12,000 gold lead, 14,000 experience lead. And the Hellborn team looking to group up here, but Legion's like, nope. I don't know if I've seen Rally use his Seismic Slam one time this game. I'd say he hasn't. It's not like I've been following him around the entire game, but I don't think I've seen it. Pesty, Parasite, and Bubbles over here looking for something. Bubbles, Torch is right here. That ward sees him. Dust goes off, and now Pesty's in a little bit of trouble. Activates the flight to get away. Compel Stun will hit him on top of the keg. There's the Bubbles coming in with the silence. We'll get out of there with a Shell Surf, and Smithix gets picked off by the Codex. Root gonna finish off Pesty, but so Majestix dies as well. Sequence gonna fall. So it's 2 for 2 right now, with the Rally and Torture dying in exchange for Pesty and Parasite. Obviously in favor of Hellborn, as they lose just a support and their Rally who's doing nothing to Pesty and Parasite. Blaze just gonna get Chase down a little bit here, but eventually deciding that's not worth it. Going to turn into a mid-tower push, and something else the Hellborn side needs to do. They've only taken one tower here in 23 minutes. They have Damp here, Keeper of the Forest, and Torturer. And they've taken one tower in 23 minutes. So.
The Hellborn have destroyed a Legion tower.
Glacius over here is invisible. And there is no dust. But now they're going to see him, because for some reason he did not invis himself. Damp, you're looking for something. Jump there by Bubbles will provide some harass, but not nearly enough. There's the jump from Damp, and that's easily dead. Jump from Pesty, though, and he's going to put the bugs and the stun now. Damp in some trouble, obviously. Nation Devil not going to help him too much because he's bugged. And there goes Nightiu. So now trading eventually is now for Nightiu certainly a better trade for Legion. Bugs and a Keeper, so he can't invis. And he's going to die super fast. The Shadow Step, of course, helping with the stun. And now Legion like, oh, we killed two of your heroes. Probably two of the most valuable heroes. Definitely the two most valuable heroes. And we're going to take a mid-tower. Glyph goes off, just going to delay it a little bit. That Nature Veil actually has so much Parasite too. Face Hug's funny. Looks like they're going to turn this into a bot tower push as well, as this is pretty low. Top tower is pretty low as well, so they could get all three tier 3s here. And Nightiu's still dead for 25 seconds. So they could run top at this point and probably still get that tower. Instead, going to choose to finish off these Creepway. And Hellborn have one tower left. So this Legion team, that really does not have that much push potential, is massively out-pushing a Hellborn team that has a few heroes that are really good at pushing. Or at least good at pushing, if not really good at pushing. But I mean, like, the team fight and the push is here for Hellborn. I don't understand why their strategy isn't just, hey, we're going to take all 5 of our heroes and run down a lane. Just because, like, that is gonna result in somebody dying initially, and it probably should be and will be Rally, because Keeper, if he gets his portal key relatively soon, will be able to sit in the back and counter initiate on top of Pestilence and Bubbles and possibly Parasite, who will be the initiators. If you put Rally in the front and Damp here off to the side as well, so he doesn't get jumped. And obviously he is looking for the Shrunken Head. He has finished his portal key with a Mighty Blade on top of that. So anyway, if you put Rally out to the front saying, look buddy, you're going to die. I'm sorry about that, but right now, you're not as important as the rest of our team. Meanwhile, Damp, you're going to jump past in the middle lane. He's going to get a bunch of damage, but Shrunken Head goes off, and now they're like, what do we do? Impel Stun there, as actually the DD Rune as well. Energy Field pop, but nothing happening there, as Pesty will just run away. Sip the bottle and take these Ancients. Top going to be grabbed. Shieldbreaker finished here on Greenwich, so that will help get them some sustained damage, especially with the DD armor from Pestilence. It will make his right clicks very powerful. Not that powerful. He went first in Shrunken Head, so his damage is that's double damage. So his damage more in the low hundreds range. Remember, let's say Damp here, who's at 127, so not that much higher actually. Both of them are level 15. But anyway, it seems like the team fight and the push potential is on the Hellborn side, and they needed to probably do this before, as Word of Revelation will spot Bubbles. Another Word of Rev getting dropped, and he's just going to get the hell out of here, because I think he sees the wards getting placed. Anyway. It just feels a bit like their hole is, I mean, it's very possible their hole at this point is too big. I mean, 16k gold, 18k experience is a pretty massive deficit for 27 minutes in this game. They lost the landing phase fairly hard, but I think their response to that was just Nightiu was going to farm top by himself, which doesn't make a lot of sense because a lot of the part of why Dampier is so good is because he can eat supports alive. And that turns into more farm, which then ends up eating carries alive as well. So, which fits with the theme of that hero, actually. Regardless, he wants to be active in the early to mid game. He wants the Grimoire as fast as possible, but part of that usually involves getting hero kills, not just static farming a lane. So the farm on him is certainly still good, 450 gold per minute, but now he's right up there with Pesty, who's actually taken over. And a Grimoire Dampier should not be losing to anything in terms of farm, pretty much, except for like maybe a Moon Queen or something. And the fact that he's losing to a Pestilence, which is, you know, he has a Portal Key, Soul's Bulwark now, and a Shrunken Head. It's not like he went a Cleave. That's a pretty big deal, and it's because Pesties had kill involvement, 3, 2, and 10. Smithix is 4, 3, and 1. He's at 5 total kill involvement. And Pesty's been in on most of these kills for the Legion side. He's in 13 of 19 kills. Nighty has been on 5 of 11. So, I don't know. I have some issues with how Legion side is playing this game. Because it seems like what their team is designed to do and what they're doing are not the same things. They're designed to team fight and push. And they can do both of those things at the same time if they would group up and do it. And they, like I said, they might have lost their window. Because at this point, can they win team fights anymore? Like before, when you had Rally with a Seismic Slam and the Root from Keeper, and Dampier's damage can be AoE if you land it right. Plus Torture and Engineer, of course, very team fight heavy support heroes. Dust Revelation goes off, and Keeper will port it the hell out of there because he needs to. Anyway, this is a team fight oriented team on the Hellborn, and if they were to come out of laning phase, like, look, we lost the laning phase, we're not down by that much. Let's just group up and take towers. We'll get a gold lead. Nighty will get his Grimoire because he's killing some heroes and killing some towers and getting a few CS along the way, but mostly the tower and hero kill. And he'll have his Grimoire at the same time as if he rises. The difference is we'll be destroying their ability to control the map. We'll be killing heroes on their team, so they won't be able to farm as much. They'll have to continuously respond to every single one of our pushes. They won't be able to rice. They won't be able to pick us off because we're always grouped as 5. And the Legion side is designed to pick heroes off and rice in the intervals. Like, ward the crap out of the map, raid their jungle, grab Wild Hunters on Parasite, get invis from scouting from Grenix, and use their burst damage to get kills. They don't have sustained damage. You can tell, you know, that they come in, they pick off 1 hero, 2 heroes, and then they get the hell out of there because their cooldowns are all gone, and they just don't have the ability anymore to take hero kills because they don't have damage. Now the Hellborn finally going to group up and take bot, but this bot tier 1 is still standing at half an hour into this game. They have a Keeper, a Torturer, a Dampier, a Rally, and an Engineer. These are all heroes that do at least decently at pushing. Some of them are creep clears, some of them are tower killers, but that's what this team does, and Legion's going to respond with a push of their own. They will kill this top tower. And if they run into a base race at this point, Legion's going to win just because they have such a massive head start. So there goes bot tower. This is, I mean, like, this is good. This is what they have to do at this point to try to win the game, I think. They have to be like, look, our team fight is strong, and they're going to now respond to this. Meanwhile, in mid, Dampier going to get up on bubbles, will get the kill, as he just does a ton of damage. So nice pick there. Now push. Okay, your whole team is here. Push middle. Do not go jungle, please. Push middle. You have no cooldowns that have been used. Consume is back in a few seconds. It's only a 30-second cooldown. Dampier going to take this wave. I guess that's fine. We'll get him a lot of CS. And he has a Shrunken finish, of course. 1,600 gold saved up on top of that. So he's getting reasonably powerful here. Look, the Zudonix is farming Ancients. Why are you doing this? Rally's in the jungle for reasons. Both of the supports are off to the side here, just standing in the woods. And Nighty is heading back to the base. Sheepstick picked up from Parasite, because that's how much farm he's got right now. 415 gold per minute on him. And he's a Blink Sheep, that's going to be a massive issue. Blink Hellflower on Bubbles. And of course, Pestilence has a Blink Stun and Shrunken Head, so Dampier is going to die very quickly. Because he's going to get blinked and sheeped, and then hellflowered and stunned, and he's just going to die. Now the rest of the Hellborn team has no damage. Rally is squishy as all hell, has only a push book, and 1,400 health on Strength Steam Boost plus a Mystic Vestments, so he'll be able to mitigate some damage, but he's going to die about half a second. Keeper of the Forest has a root. That'll help lock people down for after Dampier's dead and they don't want people chasing them. That'll be nice. The problem is there's 3 portal keys here on Legion, plus a Shell Serve. And Grenix gets faster when he uses the Ripstock, so they're not going to actually outrun them. They'll just miss for a bit. Dampier going to jump on the Pestilence. That's not going to end well. Shrunken Heads go off all over the place. Root gets them to lock down. There goes the energy field as well. Glacius cut off to the side. Will drop the ultimate here. And Sequence going to fall first, but There goes Torture gonna die, and Majestic's also gonna fall. Bubba's coming in with the Kelp Field on the 2. Nighty getting locked down here as the Suns come out and he's dead. Nice portal key away from Keeper. Takes a stun, but he's not gonna die. And that's a hat trick there for Byron. So. They just missed their window. Or more accurately, Legion did not miss their window. Hellborn's window was right after the laning phase and way late. Way late. Like when the farm here on their heroes can actually get somewhere. Bunch of buybacks. You're gonna jump right back onto 90U, of course. There's the Hellflower and doesn't even need a Sheepstick. Just dies because Hellflower Dampier does nothing. Sheepstick Dampier does less. Keep bringing the portal key back away as he doesn't want to die. Rallying the Compel here, but it's actually puts a Seismic Slam down, but Riggs doesn't really care too much. Throws the ultimate out. Pesty a little too fast. We'll drop here, so we'll... With Smithix dies first. Actually, Pesty's gonna live. Pop's a shrunken head, so he'll be okay. And Majestic's dying in half a second. Of course, that shield breaker on Grinix, and that's the game.
Defeat. Legion wins.
That was a mildly frustrating game for me just because Legion's lanes in the beginning were kind of silly, it felt like. And despite that, they still won. So that was really good on them. And then Hellborn, I don't know why they thought that they were going to win if Nighty just free farm, but apparently they did. Regardless, that's game 1. Goes to the Law over here on the Legion side. Well played by them. Somewhat less well played by YLTP Party. So hopefully we'll see a better performance out of them in game 2, because I think they need to realize better what their team is designed to do, and then they need to do it. And it didn't feel like that was the case in this game, but anyway, I think beaten them into the pavement enough at this point, so we're going to end the cast right here as the Law takes game 1.